presentation, Julie, and I'll let you introduce yourself and take over from here.
Great. So hey, I'm Julie. So my project is called Touch Me, and it's an interactive typographic sensory experience. Sorry, excuse me, I'm trying to close my thing. Okay. So, I'm sorry, does anybody know how to show speaker notes?
I am told that it's impossible in Zoom.
Good.
Yeah.
No worries,
I guess,
1 second.
yeah. Others have tried to work that out and it hasn't, there's no way to do it, I guess, that we could find.
Okay, no big deal. So touch. So in the past few semesters, I found myself really falling in love with 3D art and kind of falling out of love with graphic design, sadly. I was really interested specifically in the psychology of touch. Why do we like to feel things? Why do we like to not feel other things? I thought about how therapeutic it was to create something with my hands. And I also noticed that I was not getting the same feeling with design, with my digital work. So one day I was sitting on the 9th floor thinking, looking around me, surrounded with stress and burnout from all my students, like my classmates. And I was like, why, this is so bad. Like, how can I help them? And also help myself take a break from design. So that led me to my researchable question, which was, how can 3D art help relieve stress in designers? So first I had to figure out what textures were most comforting or stressful. So I gathered about 5 designers and created a study to understand which textures were comfortable and which ones were uncomfortable or stressful. And I told them to hold random objects and describe their emotion or their stress level while holding the object. So these are some pictures of the people holding them. What I gathered was that most students really enjoyed playing with the clay because it was movable and it was interactive. And the fabric was also a really exciting part because it reminded them a lot of like a nostalgic feeling of their childhood. A lot of them thought that it was like a childhood blanket they had. So all of the objects were a piece of clay, a beaded star, a G.I. Joe piece, an old MP3 player, and a piece of fabric, and a piece of still wool. So this was a video.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. Is it like a Neopet? No. Tamagotchi?
What I noticed was really interesting about this was, as soon as they were blindfolded, they started to figure out what the objects were in their hands. I thought it was really interesting that as soon as we shut off some of our senses, our brains think very analytically about stuff, and that's not really what I was hoping for. Yeah, so overall I noticed that most people like to touch soft things and they like to touch squishy things, but most of all they like to interact with things. So that brought me to the idea of creating touchable type. We as designers love type. We like to look at type, but what if we could feel it as well? I mean, so I created a collection of plush stress toy-like letter forms. This was my prototype of one. My first example I ever did, it was very small. And the user would be encouraged to hug, squeeze, or throw, or even rearrange the type to create their own words. And I decided to hand sew them, and I used some block printing as well. So when I first started the project, I had a plan to create this like installation for the letters, to create like a space where somebody could take a break and interact with the letters, like take a break from their schoolwork. And it would be kind of like a cozy corner type deal. And obviously this couldn't happen because with the start of online classes, I was no longer at school. So that was kind of off the table. And my other concerns were that I was worried about my low supply of fabric I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough to create all the letters I wanted to make. And my last concern was that I would be virtually showing off a piece of 3D art that was meant to be touched, which was the entire point of the project. So that was a little hard in the beginning, but I worked through it, obviously. So I began some block printing. I really found my love for letterpress this semester. I kind of realized that that was what I really enjoyed. It's kind of my niche. So I decided to use it to my advantage and do some block printing. So I used these to create some texture on the letters. And this was my first letter I did. It was I took it was actually a old wood type from the TJ Lyons collection. I was really inspired by that and was using it to create the first letter I wanted to do. So I did my block printing and I did some sewing and stuffing. That was the next step. And these are some process videos of me just printing them. This was the most fun part for me because, you know, I was doing the thing that I love the most. And you can see my first letter O hanging up to dry in the background there. This was also mostly experimenting because I had never block printed before. So I was also doing this for my letterpress class. So I was trying to like combine classes and interests. I also have like a really big love for fiber art. So that's kind of why I wanted to create plush letters. Yeah, this is another one. This is like the cutting, and I would create stencils out of paper to create the letters I wanted and then cut them out of the fabric. And then I did some embroidery as well on the letters because I wanted them to have some sort of a texture for people to feel, as well as just having the visual textures. So I'm doing French knots to create flowers. And if any of you guys don't know this about me, because I talk about it very much, I do work at Trader Joe's. So I've been working at Trader Joe's throughout this entire time, which has been a really interesting experience for me because I'm very social. I love to talk to strangers. I love to be close to people. So it was really difficult to like find people to actually interact with the letters. But the good thing about this was that I am socializing with my friends from work. So I was able to see them outside of work and have them interact with my letters and record them and see all the new ways that we're using them. I found it really interesting that people were using them in such different ways, like making them floaties or putting them on their heads. Like they were using them in completely different ways that I imagined. And that was really nice to see. It was really interesting to like watch people truly have fun with something that I created. And that was the most exciting part. Yeah, and this is a photo of the letters in total. They spell out the word touch. Yeah, and I wanted to not finish because I wanted to show them in person as well. So I'm gonna stop my presentation and I'm gonna show the letters on camera. So this is my tea, which has all the flowers on it. Give a nice close-up view. This was one of my favorite ones that I made because I really love the texture and the color, the color patterns on it. And then my O, which was my absolute favorite one because it was my first one. And I loved the orange. And I love this typeface. It's like a Tuscan Egyptian typeface. It was really cool. This is my U. It's kind of a like leafy pattern on it, which is a nice feeling. And this one is stuffed the most, so it's very like squishable, which I really like. This is my C, which is actually the C from Cooper Black, if anybody noticed. And it's pink, which I like. And then this is my H, which was pretty simple. This was the last one I did, so it was kind of like end of the project, like, okay, let's go. So, and yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, go ahead. I can share my screen again if that helps.
Yeah, if you could put up the final slide you had with the full word there. That'd be a great
the
place to be. Yeah. Congratulations, first of all. It seems like your journey was a little different because you became a little more disinterested in graphic design or traditional graphic design, communication design, it seems. And I remember you talking a little bit about that during portfolio class as well. So I'm not surprised to hear it. But you found a way to bridge your interests with design, or more traditional graphic design. So I really think that you did a great job, like with your experimenting with letterpress and sewing and embroidery and finding the way to bridge it all together into a project that you're passionate about. So really great job there.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
And you can tell, because the way that you've experimented with this, and you found a way to make something that's that was supposed to be sort of this installation piece with very tactile items, and pivoted it to something that really works in the recent events where we're all digital and online. So good job there. If anybody's here from your class, or anybody here with us now that has seen this project through, has anything, comments, or even if you guys, this is a new project to you, I'm interested to hear what other people have to say.
I have seen this project, and congrats, Julie. And I just love that you did this for your degree project, because I feel like it's so important and refreshing for other designers to see someone just do design and also incorporate art into it. I think that's such an important thing. And it's nice to watch a presentation where somebody's not selling me something, they're just sharing something with me, and that is truly so refreshing. And I'm just like, and that's brave, I feel like, because so many projects have gone towards like a deliverable that is something you can buy, and it's just nice to see you take design in this way. So congrats.
Thank you.
Actually, really interesting way to put it. It's not a product out there to sell or pitch, or it's something truly just like a personal exploration, which I haven't thought of it that way, but it's refreshing.
I've also been in letterpress with Julie throughout the semester, and it's been so cool. Like, I feel like we both kind of rediscovered block printing and fell in love with it again, and it's just so cool to see that you made it part of your degree project and bridge the gap between your love of fibers and type. So congrats.
Julie, do you think you'll do anything with this now? Is there anywhere you want to go with this project or explore this area more?
I'm not sure. I think in the future, I definitely want to work more with like doing more 3D conceptual art. I think this project this is probably it for this. I would love to make an installation for it in the future. I just don't know if it's possible. But I definitely do want to do more 3D fiber art stuff in the future.
With letter forms or something different?
Sure. I mean, I did really enjoy that part of it. I love typography, is like my favorite thing. So it was really interesting. And the reason I love letterpress is because I can touch the type, like I can feel it, and it's in my hands and I can use it how I want, which is so much different than doing it digitally. So I did really love that part of it, where I could actually create the touchable type myself.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I can relate to this degree project because I graduated from mass art a while ago, and my degree project was on embroidery. So I did not see really anything digital at all. So I appreciate that you still related it to letter forms, letterpress, part of the design world, but you made it something that was special to you. because I had a very similar experience.
Awesome.
I just want to say, great job, Julie. The what struck me, and thank you for being so honest with us too, with just where you're at with the design world. And what struck me, and I find myself constantly needing like a fidget spinner or some type of, I think you called it a stress, sort of a stress toy or a stress device or something, is I'm constantly a fidgeter. I need something. So even on these Zoom calls too, you're in the same room all day. Like now more than ever, I need something I'm usually fidgeting with my bracelet or something off camera. But that struck me as something really applicable with these objects you've crafted.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have these in the studios at school when we go back at some point, to have these in the classrooms, just to soften the studio space and to have letters to play with and sit on and throw at each other if you have to, and very relevant.
Yeah, the design world can be very harsh sometimes, especially if you think about paper, it can give you paper cuts, but here these are such a soft, refreshing element to have around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone else have a question or feedback?
Julie,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh,
Julie,
you sure?
Oh.
You go.
Who wants to go?
Daryl and me.
Julie, I just wanted to say, I just think it's so great when type gets off the page, especially when it gets off the screen. Yeah, type always has been a physical thing, right? So, though I'm sure we tend to think of it more as something heavy and hard, we're etching it in stone, or it's the metal type, etc., or the wood blocks. But I'm so happy that you love typography, that it rings in the inward parts of your heart as something really important. And so it's fantastic that you did this. You took it off the page, off the screen, and you'll have a dozen different ideas from this with typography. Anyway, thank you for using your mind and following, that you were, I guess, was it Doug that said that also, just that you were courageous to let us know that, hey, this is how I feel about it. I don't like graphic design right now. Right, but you kept going. There's still more to do. So anyway, bravo. So proud of you.
Thank you, Daryl. You taught me everything I know about type. So
Julie,
thank you.
Maybe we don't say that out loud.
Doug and Daryl, you guys.
Hey, if anything good, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Amy, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, one thing in your presentation that I was struck by is you were saying how I think it was the U was the most stuffed, so it was the most squishy. So I was wondering if those sorts of things were conscious decisions, or if you used a different filling. There's so many different ways to experience that. Is one firmer because it's a harder sounding letter when you say it? That could be really interesting too. So even making those tactile experiences, if it's filled with pellets, feels very different than foam. And I know it's hard with the materials you have available, but I feel like that's one place things could be pushed and explored even further to kind of not only how you're using them, but how they feel. And you started that with, the flowers or the vines, but then how does it feel when you squish it? Are there different ways to make that experience?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It was kind of in my head in the beginning. I had some ideas to fill the letters with like rice or sand to make them heavier or lighter. The only reason I didn't do them was because I was sewing these all by hand. So the rice, it would have just fallen out. So the stuffing, I used like a regular like plush toy stuffing for all of them. It was the best thing to use for me, and I had the most of it. And it was, again, didn't really have many resources, but maybe if I were to do it again, I would have definitely liked to experiment more with the like weight of them all.
Yeah, that could be really interesting to have some kind of like a beanbag style and a gel, even one that you can freeze and make cold or make warm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity here for experimentation on the fill, and that would determine sort of how it's being used as well. So I think it'd be really interesting. This is a really fun.
That's actually funny that you say that. A friend of mine actually used the sea as a neck pillow. I have a little clip of it in my abstract video, but now I'm thinking about like if I filled that with something else, it would have been such a different experience for her.
Right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, this is great. Well, again, congratulations. Really, really great project, and thank you for sharing. This was wonderful. It was good to see.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here.
All right, thank you, everybody. That concludes the Helvetica room today. We don't have any more after Julie. So, congratulations to you again, Julie, and everyone else here that presented. Really nice job today, and you've all worked really hard. So, good job. And now, so feel free to take off and visit the other rooms. I think there's another 2 in some other rooms. I don't have the schedule in front of me right now, but feel free to go join the other rooms, and I might see you over there. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.